this is one that's been in development for a while, and these guys have obviously had a rough time over there. It's from a Ukrainian developer. Is it GSC? Yeah, GSC. I always get that. It's like acronym, but it's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, right? And that's been in the works for a while. Obviously, there were delays, as you can imagine. And we actually played this last year at Gamescom, and that demo was extremely rough and felt very early. But it's apparently comes out on September 5th of this year. And what they showed at this show, though, I think was extremely promising and looks far more polished and further along. I mean, obviously it's a curated trailer, right? But they showed a lot of cool stuff and a good amount of variety of things that we can expect from here, including some really nice first-person animations.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Alex, I think especially for you're a big fan of the original Stalker games, if I recall.
Yeah,
So,
at least the first one. I actually
haven't.
I haven't actually beaten the
Clear Sky
third game. I beat Clear Sky, which is shorter, but I haven't beaten. I forget the name of. Was it
something of Chernobyl? I don't know.
No, the second
Shadow
one's
of Chernobyl
Shadow
was the original.
Call of Pripyat.
Call of Pripyat. That's what it is. Yes,
is the name of the third one,
Yes.
which I haven't played, by the way. So, but I've played Clear Sky and the OG. And here, actually, that's one thing is I do have some really good memory of the original game. And the one thing that I want to call out in the trailer here is actually a lot of things that we didn't see in previous released media footage from this game was the more mundane aspects of
yes.
Playing a Stalker, the original game, and also a little bit of the environment / enemy interactions, which is kind of what makes the first game unique. It's the variety of enemy types with their own behaviors, and then the anomalies. And you get actually a lot of that in this trailer, which we haven't seen before, even including very stark audio callbacks as being literally the exact same samples from, I think, probably from the original game. Correct me if I'm wrong there. At least that's what my brain thought it heard. And including also weapon types from the original game. The original game, it takes place, in this specific area with a lot of like Soviet equipment and things like that, but also had like things because like the zone attracts people from like different places of the world, not just people that live in this area. And I think that's like where there's like the weird equipment you can find. And I think that was shown off better in this trailer as well too. I did like that they showed off like the congregation area, like the place where you can like buy and sell and trade equipment, etc., or get missions and things. Something that was also kind of lacking from the original trailers we've seen. Like they've shown off a lot of the thing that the first game didn't do at all was have like good cinematics, right? Mm-hmm. But here, obviously, they have the tech, the skill set, and the time and budget apparently to be doing that much better. And that's shown off really well in the trailer too. But I was just really happy to see more uninterrupted gameplay, the larger scale. The verticality was really nice, especially when they show the character climbing what might be a water tower or to the top of some building and overlooking into the streets below. That's something that is definitely, you'd got to show in a Stalker game. So I was really excited for this. This is going to be UE5.
Yep.
Trailer, I don't know. It was hard. You can see Lumen in action throughout the entire thing. But with regard to reflection type, that's where Oliver and I especially wanted to say, like, is this Lumen hardware or is this Lumen software? And we would want hardware just for future scalability and perhaps even performance on some level. And here, based on the trailer, I really couldn't tell. But it was a very sharp trailer. Like, this might have been native 4K almost, it almost looked like. Didn't look like upscaling, which I thought was very interesting, actually.
Yeah, I would say the game is now at a point where they release what I always call like the realistic trailer. And by that, I mean the game is so close to release that everything in the trailer footage is now representative, very likely, of what you will get in the final product. And
yes.
That's when you start to see some of the more fancy pre-rendered stuff fade away from any trailers. And it's just like, this is the game. This is what it's going to look like. And I do feel like it has a very sharp, clean look. They did not they seem to have avoided motion blur pretty much by and large, which is a little bit of a shame, but it's super sharp and crisp. My only visual complaint based on this here really is the character models. Like they're not bad or anything, but that tends to be one of the more expensive things to do, right? But like here in this scene where they're sort of gathered around, they kind of have that shiny
metahuman look.
I would say not quite metahuman look. I mean, maybe if they are metahuman models, but the way that they are lit in the environment has that very high contrast, normal mappy look. In the
I
trailer.
get what you mean.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think actually if you zoom in and look closely at those models, they're probably insanely detailed, but the way they present in the game, it's not as convincing. But the lighting though, like you say, using Lumen GI here makes a huge impact because this is a world bathed in natural indirect lighting or sunlight. And they do a lot of those scenes where sort of like the light streaming into the room, into the area, and that looks cool. There's also that moment at 22 minutes 17 seconds where they show some basically like an anomaly storm or something, sort of a large whirlwind in the background, which is a fun visual effect that they've got there. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this turns out. It's when we first saw footage of this all those years ago, it looked somehow more impressive, but I just went back and looked at the other trailer while we were talking, and it pretty much looks about the same in many ways, which makes me think that it's just our expectations have kind of increased as we've seen what this stuff is capable of, right? And I still think it's a gorgeous game for sure, though. And I don't know, what do you think that was running on? That's probably PC, I'd imagine.
So the one thing that we should probably talk about is this entire showcase is, I'm going to contend they named it Xbox Showcase, but it's the PC Showcase, actually, in terms of just practicality of it all. When they do say it's gameplay, every trailer that we saw, excluding some weird uploads after the fact, was 4K. A lot of them were 60 and flawless. And the gameplay, the game types shown, like RTS games, flight sim, I almost feel like, and we can talk about the hardware thing after this, but I almost feel like this is actually a very much so geared towards PC presentation, and I think that's reflected in the footage as well too, where I'm pretty sure everything was recorded on PC. They did, at least for this showcase, more often describe something as being mixed cinematics with gameplay footage. They did actually use that phrase on the bottom, or just pure gameplay. Like I think for the Perfect Dark one, it was just like gameplay. But I think this is all PC footage. I don't think we've seen anything Series X here at all, actually.
I think you're probably right. I was just looking at the scene where it's 1 minute and 23 seconds. I was trying to examine the reflections there, and they're not really lining up with objects
it's hard
there.
to tell.
It's hard to, it's really hard to tell this stuff just from trailers. We'll find out when the game ships, because we don't have to wait that long. It's almost out.
This is the one thing I'm also worried about. This Xbox Showcase reminded me, and I was looking at all the release dates, like end of August.
We're screwed,
up
dude.
until October is ridiculously jam packed. Every week is like 2 or 3 games that I could potentially cover.
And I'm out for 2 weeks during September.
Yeah. Like I'm going to prioritize Stalker 2 for myself here, and everyone can you can grab whatever you want. But I'm going to want to cover the PC version of Stalker 2, hopefully getting a good deal before launch. I wouldn't promise that to anyone, but I would like that just so I can cover it in good detail and do justice to a game that I'm very interested in.
I feel like this is going to be a very PC centric game, and probably this deserves the full treatment, I think, similar to your excellent Metro Exodus video from back in the day.
Right. I would like to do that. Yeah.
That would be wonderful to see.